Priscilla, I have to say, it's very humbling sitting here with you. I mean, this just makes my flesh tingle. He is my man. He is my hero of all time. And yet I'm thinking, I'm sitting here enjoying all of this. And for you, there must be a certain sadness tinged with this. Or is there not, because he'll always be alive because he's there on film?
No, there is definitely. It's emotional for me, for sure. And watching the performances, I mean, I was there, sitting there, watching many of these shows. So it is as if I'm there, watching it in person back in the day, but of course in present time. And I think the audience feels the same. I love going backstage, especially toward the end of the show, and watching all the faces of the audience and the experience that they're having, their own personal experience. And it's mind-boggling on the relationship that they have with him. And many of them have never met him, and they still feel
but there's nobody, there has been nobody better,
yes.
Nobody better, as an entertainer, as a singer. And could I ask you as well, we see him there, and I'm looking at the '68 comeback there, and, you know, so much of the Elvis in Las Vegas and how fantastic he looked. I mean, just amazing. Did he have the confidence? We see the king of rock and roll. Did he always think he would be at the top? Had he got confidence in who he was, or did he ever worry or fear it would go, it would disappear?
No, he did worry. Of course he worried. He worried when he was in the Army, coming back to the States after being drafted. He was out of the limelight for 2 years. He didn't know if the fans would still be supporting him, if he'd lost all his fans because newer, upcoming, you know, rockers were coming up in the business. Even when he did the '68 special, nerve-wracking. And when he wanted to stop right then and there, he didn't feel that he was going to, you know, be able to perform the way that they saw him because he had grown up or matured. Yeah. And of course, going into Vegas, you couldn't talk to him before the show. You didn't go into his dressing room. He had to do his own mental, emotional, how could I say, like a meditation for himself to get out there. But once he was on that stage, you would never know it because he enjoyed it so much and loved it.
And the fans loved him, adored him.
Yes.
And you mentioned you were there at so many of those performances we've just been watching. What was that like for you as his wife, watching the women going completely and utterly crazy for your husband?
I always looked down off for the pretty ones because the D would always put the pretty girls, really pretty girls, all in the two front rows. But yes, but yeah, that was part of the deal, you know. And I used to always say he wanted the pretty girls there to have someone to react to because they were the ones that would go crazy.
But they all wanted to kiss him, and touch him.
They all did. Even
and I'm
the
a very
older
jealous woman. I would find that hard. Did you find that hard?
Yeah, it was difficult, but of course that's part of the show, and the fans loved it. And Elvis loved to tease very much so. You know, he would see somebody pretty, and he'd pretend to go up there and kiss somebody else. You know, he had a great sense of humor. He loved playing with the audience, and he was brilliant at it.
But did that affect your relationship? Because I would find that hard to separate my husband from the Elvis that the fans knew. So, you know, you go home. We do it here sometimes. You know, we might have a disagreement on the show, might have a row on the car going home.
Yes, I was never
take it home sometimes.
I was never that confident, ever that confident. I mean, here he was. I mean, sexiest, the most gorgeous, you know, human being, truly. He would sing. Well, first of all, it'd be gospel songs.
Oh,
he loved the gospel.
Biggest selling gospel artist ever.
Ever, yes.
Yeah.
So many people don't know that. About him.
That's right. His 3 Grammys were gospel.
Some of my favourite music is his gospel music, I have to say. Did he ever sing in the shower?
Oh, gosh, you know, no, not really.
I
mean,
do.
Elvis...
I do most of my Elvis in the shower.
Unfortunately. Elvis really, I don't think I've ever heard him sing his own songs in the house. He would never play his own music.
Really?
No, never. Never.
Now, here's the thing about the show, this Elvis in concert. Now, you're sitting there thinking, what's all this about? Like a projector, and you put something on a big screen. If you have seen it, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen it, you will go along and you will be transported. Good. Transported, I think, is the exact term. There are multiple screens. There are multiple ways of doing it. One of the things I notice you don't do is you don't use a hologram. In this day and age, they can do these things. Is that the next stage, or what do you think?
No, it hasn't progressed really to what I feel would be him. It's very difficult to get his image Very difficult because the way they do holograms, it's putting bits and pieces together. But I think this is you're seeing the real deal on this screen. I don't think the hologram can really match what you're seeing. I haven't really seen it that perfected. I'm not saying it'll never be around because it may progress on everybody, really.
Yeah.
So, but right now it's not in progress.
But there is a biopic film of his life.
Yes.
Is it in production yet?
Well,
or-
it's not a biopic of his life.
Yeah.
It's really about Colonel Parker and their relationship as of now.
Yeah.
Baz Luhrmann.
There've been so many people playing Elvis on screen, you know, so many biopics and various things as well. The Colonel. Will we like the Colonel at the end of all of this, do you think? Or is...
I haven't. Baz has been over to my home. We have many discussions.
Did you like the Colonel or not? You see, because there's that big divide about the Colonel. Was he manipulative? Did he hold Elvis back? What was your view of the Colonel?
You know, I personally have had nothing but good experiences with the Colonel. I knew, you know, listen, he was a human being. He was in fear that someone would grab Elvis and Elvis would go, you know, to them, which is Hollywood, and that does happen. I am mixed, honestly, about how he handled Elvis. You know, he was more of a promoter, not really a manager.
Yes,
a manager really has to do what their artists want. And there was, you know, Colonel had other ideas because he was about making the money for the artist.
Well, look, if I can be a promoter now for Elvis in concert, the Greatest Hits Tour, November 25th, Manchester Arena, next night Cardiff, Motorpoint Arena, then the next night in Birmingham, then Sheffield, then in Glasgow, and then December the 1st, London at the O2 Arena, and you'll be on stage for all of them, won't you?
I'll be on stage for all of them, but the TC Band will be joining, and this is another let's say, dream that Elvis had, was to get the TC Band with a full orchestra, and we're doing it. This has never been done. And Jerry Schilling is joining me. We are hosting the show. We're telling stories that we are sharing with home movies, of which
the home movies were my favourite part.
Yeah, they're different now.
Just lovely.
Yeah, they're absolutely incredible. Ken, while you're there, just while I've got Priscilla here, wait a minute, hold on, Andrew.
Make
it stop.
Oh my God, there we go. We can go all together with suspicious. Look.
Is that it?
I could be the hologram, couldn't I? And the whole thing. That's Ken, the photographer. Just smile over there. What do you think of my curled lip? Do you think I can do a curled lip?
Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry, Priscilla.
Stop.
Help him.
Time to go to the break.
He needs a doctor.
Priscilla. I'm so sorry. Security, can you take this man away, please?